for affection, but searching isn't finding. Sit back, relax, 'cause love is blinding. Searching for affection, but searching isn't finding. Sit back and relax, 'cause love is blinding. Oh, 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 no. Oh, oh, no. Oh, 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 no. Oh, oh, no. It's a strange world we live in, 'cause all we want is loving. Searching for things unspoken, but we can't hold this talking.
It's a strange world we live in. All we want is loving. Searching for things unspoken. We can't hold this talking. Ooh, 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 oh, oh.
Oh, 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 no.
Touch the fire.
Burn your hands with the desire.
Of the future
It's hopeless,
in this battle.
and we're losing. And searching for affection, but searching isn't finding. Sit back, relax, 'cause love is blinding. Searching for affection, but searching isn't finding. Sit back and relax, 'cause love is blinding.
Ooh, 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 oh, oh. Ooh, ooh, oh, oh. It's a strange world we live in. All we want is loving. Searching for things unspoken. We can't hold this talking.
Stick to the trail. No, don't go off the path. Going in a circle, lost, no going back. Lost and we're not going back. Searching for affection, but searching isn't finding. Sit back, relax, 'cause love is blinding. Searching for affection, but searching isn't finding. Sit back and relax, 'cause love.
A little bit of a longer walk dance to combine them. So this is typical because Buffy has been really, really quiet the entire time until I started talking, and then she's like, "I want to be talking." So yes, why don't you join me? So that's going to be the goals for this week. So hey everybody, and welcome to Every Book All at Once week 10. So I have calculated in total we will do at a maximum of week 17. At week 17 we have to complete this project, but there will be a little bit of a break in between. So what is Every Book All at Once? Every Book All at Once is a project that I'm doing in which I'm reading, as the title says, every book all at once. So not every book in existence, of course, but all the books that I count from my physical TBR, including one ebook that is still counting for that as well. We started the project, I don't remember with how many books, but there have definitely been a few books that have gotten off of the list because I completed them, but a lot of books that were added because I was like, let's seize the day, let's start this project right now, let's not wait for the perfect time. And then a ton of books started showing up and I was like, okay, this really wasn't the perfect time. But we are going into week 10. I don't have any punishments this week because I completed my goals. I don't have a benchmark, so not a specific percentage that all of these books need to reach because I finished the benchmark for last week, so I get a week off as a consequence. So we're going in scotch-free. I'm going in a little bit distracted as well because Buffy is currently not feeling great, and so I'm having to take her to the animal clinic tomorrow. So let's take my mind off of things and roll for what my activity goal is going to be. So I am going to start a screen recording. Yeah. So let's take the Spin the Wheel app with us. Let's start with the reading goal. As I explained last week, I added a few to them, and now I have the option, like I figured out that I can now like hide the ones that have already happened. So normally all of these are goals that I've not had up until this point. As I say so many times, would love a finished goal, but I never get them. So let's see if we get one this week. I think my volume is off, so in case it was so close to catch you as the priority. So I need to make, and this is a good one, I need to make 10% progress in the last 3 books, which means the 3 books that are at the lowest percentage. The lowest percentage book is Herald by Rob J. Hayes. Needing to make 10% in that is actually really interesting because this is the book that has the lowest percentage, as I said. It's the one book that is like close to the benchmark. So the benchmark was at 14%, this book is at 15%, meaning that once I finish this book, the next time that I'll have to put a benchmark, I actually need to move it forward quite a bit because the second lowest book in terms of like how far I've proceeded into it is already at 20%. So yeah, because let's check that out actually over on Notion, physical TBR. What is popping up here? So I know I have a few that are at like 20%. So this one is at 20%. What is that? Timeline from by Michael Crichton, for example. I thought I had a second one at 20%. So the next one will be 21%, and I have like 2 books at that, which is There Are Rivers in the Sky and The Gods Below, I think, are the ones that have that. You will see that there are 2 that have like 0%, but those are like later books in series for which I'm rereading the first ones. So actually the 3 lowest books are Herald by Rob J. Hayes, Timeline by Michael Crichton, and then either There Are Rivers in the Sky or The Gods Below. You can choose, I guess. So those are the ones that are that I need to make 10% progress in, and that will actually mean that the benchmark is going to move quite a bit ahead next time that I have a benchmark, because it doesn't really make sense to make benchmark 16% when everything is already there at the beginning of the week. But so yeah, that's for future Every Book All at Once weeks. But so now, yeah, nice. We are going to make decent progress in 3 of those. Which still means, of course, we never get that finish goal, but I think that this is a nice one to combine with finishing some stuff, because I really need to finish some stuff. So I think 10% in those books, I think they're all within like the 300 or 400 page mark, so that means like some 30 to 40 pages, so let's round it up and let's say 150 pages read over 3 books. That gives me more than enough leeway to read in other stuff as well. So, activity goal. Don't give me publicity. The activity goal for this week, in this one I haven't hidden the ones that I've already done, so we'll just see what ends up happening. I still need to add stuff to this, but yeah. And I'm starting to think that the activity goal is the one that's going to neck me. The one that I'm going to be like, okay, I have to take a punishment. But not this one. So Swiss braided breads. So it's a recipe that I got from Natalie and that I will be making now throughout the weekend, most likely. So yeah, that's something that I'm going to be making and hopefully enjoying a ton of. What I was trying to say before that is like, if this thing is going to land on Go for a Run, that is a week in which I'm gonna be like, never mind. I'll take that punishment. I was still in a more optimistic mood when I made this list, let's say. So yeah, those are the goals for this week. Make a Swiss braided bread and make 10% progress in the 3 books that I'm the least far along in. It's good goals. I think it's fine. I will kind of update my spreadsheet. So I last week decided to kind of make a spreadsheet to be able to track a little bit better what is happening. So now I have a spreadsheet that has like all the weeks up until the end of it, and then for every week I'll make an individual spreadsheet page as well, in which I can do like the daily goals or like the daily progress and kind of track it like that, see if I'm on track for whatever I want to achieve. So the goal is going to be pretty light this week compared to last week, where I was constantly just like running behind on the goal. This one should be fine, but still it's nice to have it like in a spreadsheet like that. It kind of helps productivity, I think. But so yeah, I think tonight we will consider this a win, and tonight I'll just like read whatever. I kind of want to read Kushiel's Mercy, but I'm gonna be smart about this and read The Principle of Moments by Esme Jakimi Pearson. So this was for my first Bookopoli role, for which I need to read a book that I should have read a long time ago already at this point in time. Kushiel's Mercy also fits that, but in Kushiel's Mercy I have a lot more pages still to go, and The Principle of Moments does need to be finished this month for Magical Readathon, because I got like a scroll of extension, but then you need to finish it in a month after Magical Readathon, so that one definitely needs to finish. So I think the smart thing to do is to take the 190 pages of The Principle of Moments. So I'll be reading a little bit in that tonight, to have that one closer to completion by the end of the week. Or like, I want to finish that one during this week. And then what would be ideal is also to have my second prompts completed. And I think for that one I can count like timeline or my year of rest and relaxation, or Fathom Folk. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what's I end up landing on, because timeline is so long. I think timeline is the one that like most makes sense for this prompt, because the second prompt was like a book that you think you might unhaul, and like timeline is the one that I'm enjoying the least. So that one's the one that makes the most sense, but it's also the one that I'm like, must I? So yeah, check in with you guys again when I have something to say, I guess. Hey everybody, this is attempt number 20,000 to give you guys a little bit of a reading update. So we are Friday now. I'll have made some sort of an introduction into this vlog, commemorating the life of Buffy, who I sadly lost yesterday. But I don't really want to talk about that because it's difficult to talk about it right now. But so, reading-wise, I haven't really been reading a ton this week. So I've basically just been listening to the 5 on the way to work and on the way back. But I've also been working from home Tuesday and today. So I haven't necessarily made much progress in that neither. And then so in the evenings I have made like some progress in some of my books, but really not that much. So this is really not going to be the week in which I'm going to make a huge dent into this project. I've mainly been reading in Timeline by Michael Crichton. So this is one of the 3 books for this particular goal. And I've actually just had like a section of that I really enjoyed quite a lot, because up until this point, Timeline hasn't really sucked me in. And now I got to like a section in which we're following a crew of like people who are researching this sort of like monastery or the ruins of a monastery somewhere in France. And that section has really gone quite like fluently for me. I've been interested in that section. I've been vibing with it at that point in time. So hopefully we can kind of continue that track, because the last chapter I read was once again like from the perspective of the people in the US, and those interest me less. But I do think that the focus is probably going to be on this crew of people from the monastery in France, because it seems like they will be sent on a time travel trip. So that will hopefully mean that it's going to be easier for me to get through the rest of this book. And then aside from that, I've basically been reading mainly The Principle of Moments, which on the other hand, The Principle of Moments is a book that I'm kind of like mentally checking out of. I will still complete it. It is part of my magical readathon. I did like log it as if I completed it because I used the scroll of extension. So I need to finish it in the month of October. So I will be finishing it, but I have not been getting along with it all that well anymore. I feel like the problem with it is that it's very fast paced, it's very plot driven, and it's mainly just not character driven at all. And I feel like I can deal with plot driven books from time to time, but I need to care about the characters, and I don't in this case. And so if there was more of a character focus, maybe I could care about them because maybe they would be more well developed. But in this case, I feel like I don't really know these characters all that well. Have been moments in which it was like more focused on the interaction between the characters, which I've enjoyed. But for the most part, there's just no space taken to really develop them all that well or their interactions. And so to that extent, I feel like it's kind of falling flat for me at this point in time. So yeah, I still have like 120 pages or so to go in that. I will definitely do so, but yeah, it isn't a success. It's not one that I'll be hanging on to after that. And then I also read a few chapters of Kushiel's Mercy by Jacqueline Carey, which I've been really enjoying. But I have more than 300 pages still to read in that, so that's why it's just like not my primary focus right now. Because I would love to finish a book at some point in October. And so I don't know whether that's going to happen still this week or not, because yeah, my reading mood is very unpredictable at this point in time. And so I don't know. I have the entire weekend. Like I only have one thing to do this weekend, and that's like to go and meet the people that I will be going to Thailand and Cambodia with. But that's so just like a few hours. But I will hopefully be able to pre-film and edit quite a few things to prepare for that trip. That'll depend, I guess, on my mood throughout the weekend. But I feel like if we can avoid the subject, then it's fine. It's just that, that subject just generates too many feelings at the moment. But yeah, just wanted to give you guys some updates so that this video doesn't turn into like a Monday evening update and then like Sunday evening update or something like that. I just give you like 2 moments in which I talk to you guys about books. But so yeah, this is gonna be a low reading week, and that's absolutely fine. There have been much higher priorities throughout this week, and for my calculation of like how much reading I need to do in order to finish this project before the end of December, there is a little bit of a cushion on that, in the sense that the period of time in which I'm in Thailand and Cambodia, but also the weekdays, like the few days before and after that trip, also are not counted into that. So I leave on a Thursday, so the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday before that are not calculated into my sort of like page goal thingy, nor is the Sunday after that I return. And so especially that first Monday is a bank holiday. The 11th of November is a bank holiday here, so I will probably get quite a lot of reading done that day. So I do still think that there is some cushion there to kind of fall back on. Aside from that, like if I still have a lot of weeks left to kind of try and recover some of the damage that will happen reading-wise this week. So I'm really not that concerned about that at all. And as I said, that's really like the lowest priority for me at this point in time, emotionally speaking. So yeah, it's also like it has no impact. It's just a self-imposed goal, so whatever. But I also really don't think that it is any issue for the project yet at this point in time. But so yeah, I think this week is going to be like, it's already like the week is almost over, and this week has definitely been about very different things. I do think that I still want to do the activity goal, just because this is a recommendation from Natalie over on Discord, and I think it will be a nice way to also kind of feel the love of people who surround me, you know, like feel some of that comfort from people. Like, of course, I've been getting a ton of messages, not just from you guys, but of course from all of my friends and family as well. But it'll be just like another way to connect to people in this time. But so yeah, so much for this update that I finally got through. But yeah, I'll talk to you guys later within this weekend as well. Hey, Saturday morning, I have read the sufficient amount of pages in Timeline, which I thought I brought with me here. And now I'm like, oh yeah, there it is, Timeline. Right out of frame, of course. But so I read the sufficient amount of pages in Timeline. I didn't need to read all that much anymore. Yesterday I needed to read about like 10 pages in it. So we are where we have to be in that book in order for me to reach the goal for today. So now I still have these two to go through. So I think I'm going to take Harold with me to the living room now and tackle that one first because it's the most page count. So I like to tackle the harder thing first rather than wait and have that like be the decider at the end. Not that that helps me out a lot of times, you know, once I've had the hard thing done, sometimes I'm just like, oh yeah, but I just need to do this, and then I totally fail because I underestimate that, or because of procrastinating on it and then unforeseen circumstances getting in my way. But so yeah, today I am feeling a lot better. Like yesterday was still a very emotional day, and I think like today I am feeling a lot better. So I do think I can kind of talk about Buffy now. But so like you guys, if you've seen last week's, or even I think the first sort of like clip I filmed this week, I did also I think mention that Buffy was at the at that point in time she wasn't even at the vet clinic, right? No, that she had been to the vet and that the vet had said that she needed to be hospitalized. So on Tuesday morning she was hospitalized, and the vet there took like at the vet clinic they had like all the equipment there, so he took like a blood sample and he saw that her kidney values were like really, really high. And so then we tried to treat that with an IV. Unfortunately, her heart was struggling to deal with the IV, so they had to move the IV to another location on the body, which was further away from the kidneys, and so wasn't less ideal. And unfortunately, on Thursday evening, I got a call that they did the second blood test and that there had been no difference, so that the IV wasn't helping. And so they then basically gave me the choice between prolonging the IV for another day or yeah, putting her to sleep. And yeah, I basically asked the vet what she, in her opinion, was the best option, and in her opinion the IV was just like a postponement of a decision, and that actually she didn't expect there to be any different results the next day, and that it would just be postponing her suffering. So I had her put to sleep, but it was really a beautiful moment, I gotta say, because I've never had to do that before. When I was young, we had quite a lot of cats, but unfortunately most of them were ran over. It's only my last cats who had to be put to sleep, but I was not there at that moment in time. I was not living at home anymore, and so my parents informed me of it after it had happened, but I was not there in the moment itself. So this is the first cat I've had to have put to sleep. And so when I arrived, I hadn't made my decision yet before going there. So when I arrived, I think they handled it pretty well. When I arrived, the vet basically put her on my lap and then just like left the room and said like, yeah, I'll give you like 5-10 minutes with her alone first, and then I'll come and discuss the results of the blood work with you. And so I got to spend that time with her. She was pretty close to her usual self. I mean, I think she would have been her usual self if it weren't for the surroundings, of course. You know, like she was at a vet office. She doesn't like strangers at all. She's always hiding when strangers are here. I think you guys see Buffy more than anybody outside of me has ever seen her, just because she's always hiding. So she was pretty much her usual self at that point in time. And then the vet came back and showed me the difference of the blood work, and there really was no difference when it came to the kidney values, at least. So yeah, then we decided that it was time to put her to sleep, and then she did that while I was holding her. So she did pass away in my arms, which it's a weird thing. But I think it is the best way. It was the best thing to do. But yeah, okay, we were not ready to fully discuss this, it seems. Hello, guys. Oh, I'm doing a cat erasure. Hello, guys. So, yesterday we barely did any reading again. Reading this weekend is not turning out to be an activity we're doing a lot of, apparently. So the same still stands as what I said earlier. I'm not punishing myself this week. So yeah, the goal, most likely I won't reach it. The activity goal, in the end, I also didn't go and buy the groceries for it. And I think I might be able to do it, without going for a specific type of flour. But I think, my mind is just not there. So I will keep it in the wheel, so it has a potential to be spun again sometime next week or later. But so yesterday I had my start meeting for the holiday to Thailand and Cambodia that I will have soon, and now I'm really pumped. Get me going. I am so looking forward to this trip now. A little bit anxious about it as well, but that's just because it's a new group, and so it's meeting new people and stuff like that, and just the logistics of arranging it all there is kind of new. I always have anxiety about stuff that I don't fully know how it will be like, and so that aspect is a little bit anxiety inducing. But the plus side is, of course, that most likely it's going to be a great group and we're going to have a great time together, and the arrangements and the practicalities are not in my hands. They're in the hand of the tour guide, basically, which is always a nice plus to have that removed from my responsibility. And so the anxiety over, but how will we get from there to there, or how will we arrange for this or that, is also removed from me. So that also makes it a lot easier for my for that particular anxiety. I feel like I've gotten rid of most of my anxieties, but that anxiety is still there. And so I'm very much looking forward to this trip and finally getting to Angkor Wat. We're so close now. In a month's time, I will be a few days away from going to Angkor Wat, which, it's just... I've been dreaming of this day since I saw Tomb Raider when I was a young girl. So yeah, very much looking forward to that. And yeah, aside from that, I really, as indicated, did barely any reading. Yesterday, I still read a little bit in Herald, but I think I read some 20 pages or so in Herald, where I need to read some 70 in order to get to the 10% progress in that I would need for this goal. So, oops. But I will continue reading a little bit in that, I think, just because that is the one that is the lowest in terms of its progress. So I'd rather spend my time on that one and completely ignore the third lowest book for this goal, if need be. Who knows, maybe I'll still have time for it today, because I have much less pages that I need to read in that one, because it's just a shorter book in all. But so I'd rather focus on that one now and spend my energies on that one than focus on the other one. So who knows? It's still possible, of course. But I also do still want to do some further filming. And then yesterday I also still read a little bit in Wind and Truth, and I gotta say that I'm now excited to read a little bit more in Wind and Truth. It was always a plan to tackle 3 sections, so to tackle a section on Friday, Saturday, and then today. So I'm following the schedule like that. So I have the Sunday section still to do, but I will say that I also really, really am looking forward to reading this section now. It's not like I was not looking forward to reading them before, but I was like okay about it. I was like, yeah, I can wait, it's fine. But now we've ended the previous section on a note that makes me go like, ooh, interesting. So I'm also looking forward to doing that. But so yeah, it's lunchtime now and I should cook. So I probably will be doing that, which means I will be listening to the final strife now while cooking because I've been kind of procrastinating on the cooking of my HelloFresh because I thought I didn't have a HelloFresh coming on Wednesday, but I actually do. It's the final HelloFresh that I've planned for a while, so I should also get to cooking because otherwise I will still have some of the recipes from this week's HelloFresh when the next week's HelloFresh arrives, which is never a good thing when I get behind. But so I still am in time now to get the entire HelloFresh box done before the next one arrives. So, but that entitles me cooking today. And I think if I cook for lunch, then that'll be easier to, like, then it'll already be out of the way versus if I postpone it again for dinner. But I'm also feeling like postponing it for dinner. Maybe I will postpone it for dinner, but maybe I can just like add 3 or something, already do some prep for it to kind of split it up because both of my recipes include potatoes and like there's always so much work with like peeling the potato, chopping it off and whatever. There's more work to it than most other vegetables, so I make it sound so much work now, and it's really not. But I think I'm gonna do that now. So more procrastination, but we will stop procrastinating at some point today. So we have managed to successfully complete the reading goal. So it is 9 o'clock Sunday evening right now. So I have gotten to 25% in Harold. So Harold was the book that I was the least far along into. So it is the longest book on here, so it also makes sense. So I had to read some like 70 pages in order to get 10% progress in it. So I am now 25% into that one. And I'm also really enjoying that one. So I will have a separate vlog for that whole series of series, so most of my thoughts about it will be in there. But I think I already talked about it a little bit, but I definitely enjoy this concept, which is like 3 trilogies, of which the first book of each one of them are going to come out, and then the second book. So it's not like you finish one trilogy and then you finish the next one. I mean, maybe one day people can start doing that once all 3 trilogies are completed, but the concept is that you read them like simultaneously basically. And it is really interesting to see the evolution of the relationships and dynamics between different races across time, and making you wonder like what's truth, but probably the point being a little bit more along the lines of that, you know, these things naturally evolve, that, you know, there isn't one truth, there isn't the angels, you know, can be good at one point in time and then can evolve to be bad or worse in other times, and that it's always a relative thing, and that it's also talking about how history kind of is written by the winners and how history telling changes over time and how you cannot really always rely on historical sources or on the current discussions of what has happened in the past. And then I also got to 20% in There Are Rivers in the Sky by Elif Shafak, which I'm once again really enjoying, and I would actually hope to kind of continue into it throughout the coming weeks so as to not forget the storylines, because there is not yet a clear overarching storyline. I'm not even sure if we're ever gonna get it. They're just like small connections between all of these storylines all the time, but that makes it a little bit more difficult to remember if I take breaks from it the way that I've been doing. And you know, I love Alicia Fox's writing, and this is definitely another example. I'm very much on board with this story, with these characters, with this writing, so I definitely want to keep on chipping away at it. But so, that now means that I have made 10% progress in the 3 books that I'm the least far along into, which also means that the lowest, like the book that I'm the least far along in at the point in time is The Gods Below, because if you remember from the beginning, there were 2 books that were like in the 3rd least far along book ranking. what are words? And that was The Gods Below, and so I chose to make progress in There Are Rivers in the Sky instead of The Gods Below. So Gods Below is now the book that I'm the least far along in, which potentially will come in to play next week for next week's goal. But so yeah, with that I'm ending Every Book All at Once for this week. I might still make some progress tonight in, for example, Kushiel's Mercy, which I've been kind of chipping away at throughout the week, so I'm hopefully going to make a little bit more progress in that one to potentially maybe I'll still finish it this month, because it is the one that's like most calling to me at this point in time. So even though I have like almost 250 pages still to go in it, and so I definitely have a few other books that I can more easily finish at this point in time, this is definitely one that I think is very much doable because of how much I'm drawn to it at this point in time. And so yeah, with that I'm going to end this week's edition of Every Book All at Once. It was a not so happy one, but you know, that's what happens with weekly vlogging as well, is that you see the highs and you see the lows, and this week definitely was a low, but yeah, we get through it day by day, and I want to thank all of you guys for your support over on Discord, both in the unsure times at the beginning of the week and the anxiety of those days, as in the latter half of the week when, you know, I was dealing with the grief over losing Buffy. But so yeah, with that I'm gonna end this video. Hope to see you guys for the next one, and have a great time. Bye.